Welcome back to another Stormgate replay analysis. Today I have another one of my own games that I will be analyzing. However, I, luckily in the near future, will be doing this for some pro games. I wanted to take my time and actually review those a couple of times before I got those out, which is why you're not getting one of those today. But the other thing is that I don't have any pro Vanguard replays, unfortunately. So Vanguards have been a little bit underplayed. I wanted to look at today why that is, try and examine some weaknesses in the Vanguard. Yeah, it seems on the latter, Vanguard is played well enough, but a lot of the pros have been avoiding Vanguard. So they seem to think that the Vanguard is weaker, but the latter shows that they are only weak in certain matchups. It's kind of a rock, paper, scissors deal where the I believe the Vanguard beats the Infernals, Infernals beat Celestials, Celestials beat Vanguard. And that's the ladder spread. Which, of course, when I say ladder, I just mean the ranked play, where you play with random people, you increase in rank. General PvP stuff, just online. So yeah, anyway, I wanted to see what it was about for myself. So this is a replay analysis. There is a method of watching your own replays and improving your game. And that is just looking for your weaknesses, where you end up like loading money, or where you lack in your attack, or micro mistakes. There's all sorts of different kinds of ways you can look at a replay. And today we're not really doing a personal analysis. I will point out when I have some major mistakes, so you're aware that there was other factors in what caused the battle to go poorly, or why I'm ahead or behind. But that's not the primary thing we're looking at. So I actually played several games before this. I haven't been playing Vanguard recently. I was working on a lot of stuff for Celestial, trying to figure them out. And I also did a couple of things for Infernals, and now for Vanguard as well. So getting out all those guides and things, and really haven't had time to just play with the factions. Been really busy. So yeah, I played several games today, actually, and the first thing I found is that I'm actually having a really hard time figuring out a comfortable build for Vanguard. That's great positioning, by the way. He edged a little bit to the right, just in case I tried to get away. And of course I was going to, since he outclassed me. Before, the fight was in my favor because we had relatively even numbers. I had a Lancer and 2 Exos. Scout wasn't going to do too much other than harass them a little bit. But the creeps were also attacking them and tanking for me, so that fight would have gone a lot better. I should have taken the flower right here. I didn't even think about it. I was too busy trying to make sure that I was producing at home, getting ready to expand here. As you can see, and I realized that I'm actually supply blocked. So that's one of those my mistakes. I was busy microing. I thought I'd move out. Turns out that was not a good time for me to initiate a battle because my I wasn't ready on the home front. This is the kind of thing that's going to happen all the time if you don't have a build order. When you have a build order, you know the timings that you're like, oh wait, before I attack, I need to do this. And RTS is really all about making sure you're doing things when you have time. So I'm pretty sure my opponent just outclassed me here. I'd be really surprised if he has a ton of mistakes. I see his build orders unoptimized, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not a really good player. So, but like I said, I'd be surprised if he had some glaring mistakes. You can see we're actually floating similar amounts of materials, but or resources, I should say. But he just has a lot more of them. He's already at 66 supply. He's just got way more than me. I'm fully aware of this. I think that's in part due to my build order. Because like I've already pointed out, we're both floating a bunch of resources. But he's going to be able to spend them. I simply don't have that much infrastructure at home. Now this is already way better than what I was doing before. One thing I've found since the most recent build of the game is going command center first, which was my, or I should say command post first. Going the command post first was my go-to build in the previous meta. I felt a lot more comfortable defending against all the attacks, but with this meta, it's not even necessarily about feeling comfortable defending. It's also about how potent the camps are. So if you sit back and get camps and you're not producing units, it's not as good. So we have an equal amount of camps. I messed with his taking of this creep camp. Unfortunately, I don't think I really creep jacked anything. I think I maybe killed one of them, but he regrouped really quickly and outpositioned me. So right now he's got a lot more. He's already teched up to Kree. Now technically I've already teched up to Exos, which is the technological equivalent to the Kree. They actually cost the same exact amount and have similar tech requirements. With Vanguard, you're building a barracks and then a biokinetics lab, and then with the for the Kree, what you'll want is the creation chamber, and then you build a Guardian Nexus, and boom, you've got Kree, and they're both 100 Illuminite and 25 Therium. So, theoretically, I have the more technologically advanced army, but, you know, barely, because we're both producing just out of our tier 1 structure. However, it is worth noting that the Kree are actually considered light units, which is kind of funny because they're tankier than the Argents, and then the Argents are considered heavy. And actually, I say they're tankier. They have a little bit more armor, but less health, so that's maybe not exactly fair. I do get myself stuck here. I am healing up my units, and I thought I'd stage an attack. I'm not paying attention right away, and so he jumps on me and gets some good splash damage. When the Kree unroll out of the ball, they do splash damage, so that was really bad positioning, but you can see that that was not why this went so poorly. I was out on the map. I didn't realize how far behind I was. He's on 3 fully saturated bases. He's on 2 fully saturated bases because I blew this this one up. Yeah, so but he was on 3 bases. I thought he was on 2.5, but no, he's got full prism saturation on all of them. And so I am down a base. You can see I'm just barely catching up. I haven't finished it yet. I had a bunch of resources that I didn't spend, so I just started spending them. So the major problem is that I lost all those resources. Now I'm spending my money. I set up this defensive point over here. I thought he was actually going to attack me on the new base. I do actually have some scouting going on, though, so we'll see that in just a second. One of the major problems was I didn't have enough Therium. Now I've overspent on Lancers, and now I'm not really spending that Therium. But I wanted to get some upgrades and things, which you can see I just started. But the issue was, though, that I overspent there. But I mean, all those exos lost over here were huge. He was a little bit ahead, but then he went to being way ahead. I stay in this game for a long time. I realize it's a lost cause, but that's not really the point. That was for scouting. I wasn't doing anything other than scouting. That Lancer was not hoping to achieve anything. So I build a double sentry post here and hope that I can hold on. But really, I just want to get a feel for the game. So the reason why I've not dropped, it's not because I thought I was coming back. I was going to try and come back, for sure. But he's going to put a lot of pressure on me, and he's going to do actually a really good job of keeping the pressure on. His macro at home falters, but I made a pretty big mistake here of not actually already having a Lancer in these, and I lose a bunch of Bobs. That that was going to be just like a my mistake kind of thing. But if you're wondering why I'm making so many mistakes, it's because he's hitting me in multiple locations. So I've already lost the Bob or two that was over here. And he's going to bounce these back and forth. And because I didn't spend my Ethereum, I actually don't have enough Exos. And it's actually kind of hard. So the Lancers do counter the Kree now. The Kree were nerfed pretty significantly. So they used to get 50 armor, so they go from 10 armor to 50 while rolling, which is because the armor is percentage based. It's actually quite significant in the damage reduction that it does. But now, at least, Lancers do counter Kree, kind of. So the Saw Blade, the Buzzsaw Blade, actually does extra damage to light, so that would have been really helpful. But the Kree do extra damage to my Exos, and the Exos don't do extra damage to Kree. And so you kind of need the Exos for taking out the top guys. Oof. Yeah, see, I was hoping to get some kiting in. Anyway, things things are a mess. It's falling apart. But I'm still trying to gather some data here, which is why I haven't left. Kree still feel really strong. So if you're a Celestial player, I don't think that Kree are out of the question anymore. Despite the fact that the pros haven't been building it, but you'll actually notice that a lot, though. When a unit gets nerfed, the pros tend to stop playing it for like a couple of months, and then someone will be brave enough to play it again and be like, "Oh, okay, it's still pretty good." But it's a bit of an over-exaggeration, but it's kind of true. So it looks like they fixed it. I don't think the Repair-O-Matic used to actually patch up the structure that was being built, even when it wasn't done. So I think he hold position. I don't know what was happening there, but maybe he was trying to catch any retreating Bobs. Yeah, so I've lost 2 bases. He never stopped with the Exos over here, and because he was constantly laying on the pressure over here, I couldn't afford any over there. That's because he had double my army supply. Yeah, like I said, he's also floating a ton of resources, so big waste there, but he's only mining Therium from here. He was actually out of Therium. If I would have stabilized, I think I could have had this. I think, however, the issue with Vanguard and the issue I've been having with my build is that it's kind of tricky to tech up. The maps don't have good resources splits on everywhere, and so you need Luminite really early for a good build, because you need the Exos to counter the Argents, because the Argents counter the Lancers really well, but then you need to tech back into Lancers afterwards to counter the Kree. And then these are actually light, so Exos aren't good against them. So I think maybe I was trying to follow up with Medtech And medtech honestly might be the right call because the Kree are mechanical and the Argents are biomechanical. Where's an Argent? Yeah, it's biological and mechanical. So the bio the biotech, the medtech is capable of healing your units, but it has another ability. There we go, nanoswarm. So the nanoswarm just does damage in an area around a target that you hit with it, and it just starts dealing damage. You can see it's just ticking down. But this works on Argents and Kree, so teching up to medtech might actually be really effective. I don't know if mass medtech is the key. That's probably a little too much. The mixing in a bunch of medtechs into your army and blanketing it. Just keep in mind, however, that animancers do counter medtechs because they can sap energy, and also the Celestial's top bar ability has the capacity to cleanse debuffs on the army. So even though you can blanket the enemy army in Nanoswarm, they do have counterplay options. And you'll need a lot of medtech to be able to blanket them. You can see that it doesn't do big damage, it just picks away at them. Part of the reason why it's so slow, though, was because it has its shield. It gets really tanky with its shield. The damage reduction from the size is 50% when it has energy to shield itself. He did take the middle, he was mining from it. That honestly would probably be the way to go. You want to take that really early is against Celestial, because 1, you want to deny them from having it, and 2, it's really easy to set up something like this. If you haven't used this trick, this is a wide open area, but by dropping 2 habitats in front of it, you're able to put in like either 2 exos or 2 lancers or 1 of each. And then you actually change these into solar habitats, and then you give these 25% attack, but it also creates a wall. So like if he tries to attack with Kree, the Kree will go around it and then try to hit it, and so it actually buys you some time. They get choked up a little bit, they clump up, and this isn't going to hold off an army push. Like if he pushed with even this, it would probably lose. But what it does is it means that he can't push into it for free. He can't just send a few units. And he also, if he does attack it, hopefully I'm keeping good scouting. Maybe I have this vision camp. But the idea is that you want to have good scouting, and this is a defensive position where if you see them coming, maybe you have like a scout here or something, you notice that the army is coming this way, then you can move your army into position. There's an unfortunate little thing over here. I forgot this Bob over here. Originally, when I put my guys over here, I did notice that he was surrounding me after I took this camp. I wanted to actually open it up and get out, and I almost did. Because I pulled the Bob from over here, so we didn't have the longest way to go. It was still pretty long. I wanted to actually keep harassing this point and hold this. It was good that I took out the collection array, but I didn't have an escape route. I think that there is some options for Vanguard. I'm not 100% sure how to execute it, though. Honestly, every build I've done has felt really awkward, because you start off where you're like, you need a bunch of Luminite so that you can expand, but then you also really need some Therium. So I'm wondering if, and I think it's too dangerous, but it almost feels like you need to go command post first, but against Celestials that's very dangerous, because Celestial has some very potent early game aggression. So I'm going to continue to look at this, but let me know in the comments if you have some suggestions. Right now, essentially my build order is something along the lines of barracks, habitat, shortly after I get the biokinetics lab, and then I start mining Therium with 2. I found that 3 is a bit too much. But anyway, yeah, like I said, but then with just the 2, you can afford a couple of exos, but you can't afford upgrades, and then you can barely afford to expand. So maybe I need to stay on 1 Rax longer, but then it feels like my production's small. So yeah, in general, Vanguard's build order just feels really awkward right now. It feels like they're forced to essentially open up Lancers, and when Lancers aren't strong, they're just kind of in a bad spot. Even the Scout, you can open up Scout, but you have to get tier 2 to make those Scouts actually good with the claws. So it feels like with Vanguard, you really need to get to tier 2 ASAP. But I don't know, maybe I'll experiment with some Lancer openings versus Celestials. I don't know if they'll be good, but maybe you punish some early greed and then you use it for buzzsaw cannons until you're able to transition. But that feels messy. So let me know what you think. I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments. But anyway, that is where I'm at in my journey to figure out a decent opener. I hope you enjoyed this replay analysis, and hopefully it also helped. We are going to be digging into some professional replays for the analysis of what they're doing and some of the skills that we can adopt in our own games. Be excited for that, and I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching.